One other thing that I see quite a bit of is advertisements for a bike that's 5, 10 years old. It says the bike is literally brand new. We bought this bike, it was an impulse buy. We bought it, we used it a handful of times and it went into the garage. Or we bought it 5 years ago, my husband got hurt, he never used the bike. It's a $900 coat rack now. It's kind of like that car that's in the garage. Your aunt bought a car, she drove it 20 miles, she put it in her garage, it's been sitting in her garage for 20 years. That's a bad idea too. And here's why. When something mechanical sits for a long period of time in a sedimentary state, the incidentals, the mechanical incidentals that typically are supposed to be mobile, bearings, there's no hoses on a spin bike, but on your Aunt Edna's car that's in the garage, that's huge. When something sits, it basically just rots from the inside out. With a spin bike that somebody bought, they paid $900 for 8 years ago, they used it 5 times, and then they put it in their garage or their closet or the spare bedroom, and it's been sitting for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Typically the chain will be dried out, flywheel bearings dried out, bottom bracket dried out. Test ride the bike before you buy it, and I mean really test ride it. Don't just hop on and ride for like 20 seconds, okay, I'll take it. You could buy a bike that's 5, 6 years old that looks like this. This was one of those bikes. This bike was in someone's home for 10 years and it had little or no use on it. And I rode the bike and actually it didn't feel too bad. It probably was palatable. A used fitness equipment company would have jumped on this, quadrupled the price and sold it like that. But there was just something in the drivetrain, some sort of conflict that I didn't like, so we tore it down. Everything incidentally was replaced, and this bike rides as well as a $1,500 NXT. So these are 2 common bikes that you'll see a lot. There's a lot of these bikes out there on the market for sale. This is a Schwinn Johnny G Spinner Pro, minimum of 10 years old. They stopped making this bike in 1999. They made this bike for close to 10 years before they discontinued it, and Schwinn lost their partnership with spinning. Another common Schwinn Johnny G Spinner black frame is the Elite with the red flywheel. That's the bike that you really need to be careful of. That's a really, really difficult bike to repair and fix because it has a first generation smart release clutch on it, and it immediately gets contaminated when you lubricate the chain. And most companies that resell that bike either won't know about it or they'll know about it and they won't know how to fix it, they won't address it, they'll just kind of protect like it's not, well, there's no problem with this bike, look at it, it's beautiful. It's a Schwinn for $300, how can you go wrong? It's not the price of the bike, it's the warranty, does it have pedals, what have they done to the bike? Don't be afraid to ask questions. On the StarTracs, this is a first generation StarTrac Spinner Pro. This is approximately 7 years old. The Spinner Pro, first generation StarTrac, black frame, black flywheel. Same situation with the first generation StarTrac Spinner Pro as the Schwinn. StarTrac adopted the original smart release from Schwinn, and their first generation Spinner Elites can be mechanical nightmares because they have a clutch that can be contaminated just through conventional lubrication of the drivetrain. Good indication of a bike that's been in a club is going to be heavy corrosion. It's going to be tower mobility. How does the seat and handlebar move in terms of up and down when you go to adjust the bike? One other indicator, this bike came from a commercial facility, and we did the same thing that we do with all bikes this old. It's been completely torn apart, corrosion removed, repainted, and then all the incidentals were replaced. But this one has some debilitation in the handlebar coating, which is an indicator that the bike was beat on for quite a few years. But again, when you tear it apart and you refurbish it and you replace all those incidental parts, you've got a brand new bike on the inside. And this bike, even though this is 10 to 15 years old and this is 7 to 8 years old, when we sell it, we offer lifetime warranty, lifetime parts replacement. And we also include, which most companies don't do this, that's a brand new $80 clip-in pedal on the bike, SPD basket combo pedal. We include that. We don't jack the price up, we include it at the price. And also, one thing that we do that no one else does, because they don't have what we have, is having written 6 different tech manuals over the last 10 years, which are kind of like Spin Bike Maintenance for Dummies manuals. I include one of those manuals with most of the models that I sell. And those manuals were written so that an MIT graduate or a housewife with a few tools in a junk drawer can typically do little things to their bike to prolong the operation of the bike and not have problems with the bike. Just proactive preventative maintenance on layman terms.